everybody, welcome back to another video of STEM with me. So in this video, we're going to be going over the rib tool in Onshape. So first, let's go over what the rib tool actually does. So for that, we need to understand what a rib actually is. So the most common definition is like that bone that's in our chest, but that's not what this rib is. I mean, it's one definition of rib, but it's not. The definition of rib that we're going to use is a long piece of stronger or thicker metal across a surface or through a structure, and typically serving to support or strengthen it. So what that means is that it's just a piece of metal used to structure a piece, right? So what we're gonna do is we're going to make a classic example of a rib. Like it's one of the most classic things you will ever see. So what we're gonna do is we're first gonna start a sketch on our top plane. So I'm gonna click on my top plane. I'm going to come here and click on the sketch button. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to right click on my sketch and click on view normal sketch plane. Then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come and make a center point rectangle. So how I did that was I came to my rectangle tool and I clicked on the drop down and I clicked on center point rectangle. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my origin. I'm going to click and I'm going to zoom out and then I'm going to click again. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to dimension it. I'm going to make this one 5 inches and I'm going to make the width 3 inches. Okay, so now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my sketch and I'm going to click and extrude. So I'm going to make the extrusion depth something like 1.5 inches. I'm going to check how that looks like by coming into isometric view, which can be achieved by coming to the gray cube, clicking, and going to isometric view. And then I'm going to click the green check button. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my keyboard and click on P. So what that does is it just hides all of the planes. So then what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to my top plane again. I'm going to come to make a sketch, click on it, and click on the top of my cube. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to my rectangle tool and make a corner rectangle. I regret making it in top view, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to come back into isometric and come to this, no, wrong view, oops. I'm going to come back into isometric, and I guess I'm just going to sketch it in isometric. I'm going to select from one point here, drag it out, and make it there. Okay, that's all I need to do here. I'm going to make the dimension of only the width because I don't need to make it for my length because it assumes the dimension of our first length, right? So of the base rectangle's length, this is the width of the base rectangle's length. So now I'm going to just dimension the width to 1 inch. Then I'm going to come out of my sketch by dimensioning it by right-clicking and clicking on Escape Dimension. And now what I'm going to do is I'm going to come to the extrusion tool. And it automatically selects the sketch for me and extrudes it on the spot. So then I'm going to click on the green check button. Oops, sorry. And then I'm going to click that and voila. Now, this shape is quite sturdy, but let's assume that under circumstances that that this is really weak, what engineers would usually do is they'd put a support beam right there, right in the center. So we're gonna make that. We're gonna make a rib. So how we're gonna do that is our rib, as I said before, is going to come from here and come and touch somewhere near the origin. So I'm going to need to make a sketch from the center of the origin. So I'm gonna need to make a sketch to account from the midpoint all the way down. Now we know that's not possible because the right plane only covers only covers this view, the front plane only covers this view, so it doesn't really make sense. So I need to make a new plane, right? So how I'm gonna do that is I'm gonna come to my plane tool over here. I'm gonna select plane, and I'm gonna select the front plane. I want to make a new plane. I'm gonna offset a plane off my front plane. So I'm going to push it all the way back to the center of the plane, and I'm gonna click the check button. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm just going to click on my plane one, and I'm going to come to sketch, and I'm gonna make a sketch. And then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hover over the middle of this entire box until the middle point of this line gets highlighted. I'm gonna click on it. I'm going to click on my line tool actually, and I'm going to make my line right there, and I'm actually gonna come into my front view, and I'm going to line it up with my origin over here. So I'm gonna make sure that it's on the actual line, and I'm gonna come out of the line. Now how I'm gonna make sure, now what I'm gonna do is I'm going to hover over the line, and then I realize that my midpoint has not been coincidented with the start of the line, which I want it to be coincident. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna come to my coincident constraint, select this line, and select my midpoint, and okay, that's not what I really want. Okay, and I'm gonna make them coincident. For some reason I think I misselected, so I'm just gonna click Control Z, and I'm gonna redo the coincident constraint. I'm gonna select my line. Okay, so then what I'm gonna do is I'm going to make this coincident to this line over here. Or actually, no, that's not what I want to do. I just am going to leave that hovering because right now it's pretty much aligned to the origin. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to finish my sketch, and I'm now going to create my rib. I'm going to select it, and I'm going to select the line, and it selects part 1 for me. It already pre-selects it, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to check to make sure that's the rib that I want. Is this depth right? Is it, so how we can edit it is the only really things you can edit here is your thickness. For my example, of course, if you choose a different part to do it, if you have a little bit more complex part, you can have more things to edit, such as if it's parallel to the sketch plane, or is it normal to the sketch plane. If it's normal to the sketch plane, you see mine shows an error, which means that it cannot be on top of the plane, right? So if it's parallel, then that makes sense. And then what we can do is here we can adjust the thickness of the rib. So I can make my rib an inch, or I can make mine, or I can make mine 0.5 inches. It really adjusts the thickness. And here, if you notice, it takes this line as a line of symmetry. So if we were to measure this, this would be 0.25 of an inch, and this part would be 0.25 of an inch. Let's see if I can annotate that. Okay, so this part would be 0.25. I'm gonna adjust my my line width because it's just big. So this piece over here, this piece from the start of this point, to this point would be 0.25. As would this piece. This piece would also be 0.25, and for people who can do fast mental math, when you add them together, it would be 0.5 inch. So 0.5 inch. So I'm gonna clear that off. Okay, so I'm gonna, and then we can create our rib, and that's how you use the rib tool. So I hope this tutorial really helped you guys. If you guys have any questions, as always, please you email me at the email address that I'll put in the description below, or you can just comment on my video and I'll be sure to get back to you on that. So yeah, thank you so much for watching this video, and thank you for studying with me. Bye!